In the previous chapter, Ken William finds himself in a strange dark realm after his death. He encounters two enigmatic beings, Mr. Beginning, who represents creation and new starts, and Mr. End, who embodies endings. These entities introduce Ken to the concept of a multiverse and explain that he is in a place beyond heaven and hell called the celestial void. Ken, a man of science, struggles to comprehend this new reality as he faces the prospect of making significant choices that will shape his future. Let's find out what happens in this chapter. Chapter 2. Backstage. The mysterious figure smiled enigmatically. Mr. Beginning, I like the sound of that. You may call me that, indeed. Ken's mind reeled. Mr. Beginning and Mr. End. What an odd pair they made. Like a cosmic comedy duo without the punchlines. His gaze darted around the cavernous space, drawn to the countless shimmering bubbles that drifted in the vast nothingness. Each pulsated with an inner light, hinting at something far more profound than mere decorations. Curiosity gnawed at him, breaking the contemplative silence. Mr. Beginning, he finally mustered, gesturing towards the luminous spheres. What are those bubbles? They can't be ordinary, can they? I mean, they're not exactly the kind you'd find in a kid's birthday party. Mr. Beginning chuckled, his laughter echoing through the void. Ah, a keen observation, Mr. William. No, these are not mere bubbles. See for yourself. Go ahead and examine one. Peer into its depths and witness the wonders it holds. I promise it won't pop and cover you in cosmic soap. Ken hesitated, his scientific mind warring with the surreal nature of his surroundings. Is it safe? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Mr. Beginning's form shimmered with what might have been amusement. Safe is a relative term, Mr. William. But fear not. You are beyond physical harm here, though I can't guarantee you won't have your mind blown. With curiosity burning brighter than ever, Ken tentatively reached out. To his surprise, the bubble didn't touch his fingers, but hovered mere inches above his outstretched palm, defying the laws of physics he knew. With bated breath, he leaned in and peered into its incandescent depths. What he saw within was beyond his wildest imaginings. It wasn't just a simple sphere of air, but a portal to another world entirely, no, an entire reality unto itself. His vision delved deeper, traversing galaxies and observing stars, planets, and celestial bodies in all their majestic splendor. One particular blue planet caught his eye, its familiarity tugging at something deep within his consciousness. Yet, as he studied it closer, he realized that, while similar, it was subtly different from the Earth he knew. Is that Earth? Ken asked, his voice filled with wonder. Mr. Beginning's voice echoed softly around him. No, it's not called Earth, Mr. William. It is called Planet Vegeta by its occupants. We are quite fond of stores born from there. You might too have heard them also. Spurred by an insatiable thirst for knowledge, Ken willed himself forward, increasing his speed as he soared past the sun and out into the inky blackness of deep space. As he flew through this reality, he witnessed the universe unfold in all its boundless glory. But his sense of wonder soon turned to dread as he realized he was hurtling towards a massive, all-consuming black hole. He tried to scream, but the sound was swallowed by the vacuum of space, drowned out by the pounding of his own frantic heartbeat. He willed himself to slow down and change course. But it was too late. The inexorable pull of the singularity's gravity had him in its clutches, and he soon crossed the event horizon, plunging into the inky abyss. As he fell deeper into the black hole's maw, Ken felt himself stretched and contorted in ways his mortal mind could scarcely comprehend. Ken felt his very atoms being pulled apart. He screamed and shouted, hoping against hope that someone, anyone, would hear his desperate pleas and rescue him from this terrifying fate. But his cries echoed unanswered, swallowed by the void. He continued falling until he was no longer moving but trapped in a timeless, weightless limbo, his shouts reduced to a silent scream as the very fabric of his being threatened to unravel. Then, as abruptly as it had begun, the torment ceased, and he lost consciousness, slipping into a merciful oblivion. When he finally opened his eyes once more, he found himself back in the inky blackness, the shimmering bubble that had started it all hovering innocuously above him. "Holy cow!" he stammered, his voice trembling as he tried to make sense of the experiences he had just endured. "That was one heck of a ride." A booming voice, warm and rich like aged brandy, echoed through the cavernous space. "Ah, Mr. William, you awaken at last. Did you enjoy your little cosmic adventure?" With a jolt, Ken found himself back in the cavern, the bubbles shimmering innocently before him. Disoriented, he rubbed his eyes, trying to shake off the lingering terror. "That was terrifying. I thought I was going to die in that black hole. Talk about a lousy vacation spot." Mr. N's form rippled with mirth. My dear Ken, you're already dead. Or have you forgotten? Though I suppose dying twice would be quite the accomplishment." The reminder hit Ken like a physical blow. "My memory is sharp," he admitted, his voice small. "But one is still afraid to die, even when already dead." As Ken stood there, overwhelmed and disoriented, his gaze was drawn back to the bubbles, each one pulsating with an inner light that seemed to beckon him closer. "Universes," he breathed, the word tumbling from his lips in a reverent whisper. Mr. Beginning smiled, his voice a comforting rumble. "Indeed, Mr. William, multiverses, to be precise. And collectively, all of them are called the infinite verse. But you've grasped the essence, it seems." Ken couldn't believe what he was hearing, what he had just witnessed. A tremor of awe ran through him as he contemplated the implications of Mr. Beginning's words. He had traveled across the cosmos, glimpsing sights and wonders that would drive mere mortals mad with their incomprehensible grandeur. Ken's voice faltered, his mind struggling to articulate the torrent of emotions swirling within him. It was like nothing I've ever experienced before, so vast, so infinite. Mr. Beginning's form pulsed gently. "And yet, Ken, what you experienced was nothing but a fraction of what exists." "So many multiverses," he breathed, his voice barely a whisper as he struggled to wrap his mind around the staggering implications. "Welcome to the Backstage, dear Ken," Mr. End rumbled, his voice a crackling storm that seemed to echo through the depths of Ken's very being. "Or you can call it the Forge of Reality." Mr. Beginning nodded sagely. "You stand before the birthplace and graveyard of reality itself, Ken. Each bubble is a multiverse, a swirling vortex of infinite possibilities and potentialities. It's like a cosmic recycling center, but instead of cans and bottles, we're dealing with entire realities." "Infinite possibilities," Ken repeated, his mind reeling at the concept. With a newfound appreciation for the mysteries of the multiverse, Ken marveled at the intricate dance of possibilities that unfolded within each shimmering orb. "But why show me this?" Ken finally found his voice, his words laced with a tremulous mix of wonder and trepidation. "Why grant me this glimpse into infinity? What is my role in all this?" Mr. N's response was blunt, almost casual in its delivery, a stark contrast to the weight of his words. "Why else? To broaden your horizons, of course. To give you a taste of the grand scale of things, so that you can make an informed decision. It's like showing you the menu before you order at a restaurant." Ken's brow furrowed, his mind grappling with the implications of Mr. N's words. "From all the people in my universe, why me?" he finally asked, unable to contain his curiosity any longer. The question hung in the air, weightless yet heavy with significance, as Ken awaited an answer that could potentially redefine his understanding of existence itself. Links to the other chapters are in description.